Good morning, class. Today in this lecture talk, we are going to understand about introduction to biofertilizer. Okay. The fertilizers are used to improve the fertility of the soil, right? Using biological waste, hence the term biofertilizers. And biological waste do not contain any chemicals which are detrimental to the living cells, right? After the introduction of chemical fertilizers in the last century, farmers were very happy of getting increased yield in agriculture in the beginning. Okay, they were very happy because all the chemical fertilizers are being used for the increasing in the increasing amount in order to increase output in high yielding varieties of crop plants, right? However, chemical fertilizers cause pollution of water bodies as well as groundwater, besides getting stored in crop plants, right? Organic farming is the raising of unpolluted crops through the use of manures, biofertilizers, and biopesticides that provide optimum nutrients to crop plants, keeping pests and pathogens under control, right? But what has happened now? Once people understood the ill effect of this chemical fertilizers, they have switched over to the biofertilizers, right? What all the ill effects they have understood here? Slowly, chemical fertilizers started displaying their ill effects, such as leaching out and polluting water basins, destroying microorganisms and friendly insects, making the crop more susceptible to the attack of diseases, reducing the soil fertility and thus causing irreparable damage to overall system. So now what has happened? After understanding all the ill effects, now everybody is switching over to biofertilizers or organic farming. The name biofertilizers itself is self-explanatory, right? The main name only itself says that is the quality of the biofertilizers, right? The fertilizers are used to improve for what purpose? To enhance the fertility of the soil. How we can enhance the fertility of the soil? By using biological waste. Okay, hence we are given the term here biofertilizers. We are using the biological waste to enhance the quality of the soil, right? Hence the terminology we have used here, the biofertilizers. And here the biological waste do not contain any chemicals which are detrimental to the living cell. So we can use in a very confident way the biological waste to enhance the quality of the soil, and they are extremely beneficial in enriching the soil with those microorganisms which produce organic nutrients for the soil and also help combat diseases. Okay, the farm produce does produce do not contain any traces of hazardous and poisonous materials. Thus, those products are accepted across the world as organic ones. Hence, for organic farming, the use of biofertilizers is mandatory because these biofertilizers do not produce any kind of hazardous chemical component. Okay, in that nitrogen is one of the most important element for growth and development of a plant system. In agricultural fields, the nitrogen is provided in the form of the chemical fertilizers, right? That we need to stop. Despite this, the soil itself contain various nitrogen fixers which enrich the soil fertility, which is much beneficial for the yields use or for the yields of use of as a biofertilizers, further which enrich the soil fertility. Instead of adding the chemical fertilizers, okay, we need to shift ourselves to the biofertilizers. Okay, so what are biofertilizers? Biofertilizers are microorganisms which bring about nutrient enrichment of soil by enhancing the availability of nutrients to crops, right? If there's biofertilizers or biological waste, if they're not providing any nutrients to the crops, then there won't be any kind of useful, right? That's why the biofertilizers which are going to enhance the availability of the nutrients to the crops. Crop should grow well means we need the nutrients. So who will provide the nutrient? Biofertilizers are going to provide. Okay. Biofertilizers means what are we using here? We are using here microorganisms. The microorganisms which acts as a biofertilizers are bacteria, cyanobacteria, that is blue-green algae, and mycorrhizal fungi, that is worm. Okay, that is vesicular herbuscular mycorrhiza. Bacteria and cyanobacteria have the property of nitrogen fixation, while mycorrhizal fungi preferentially withdraw minerals from organic matter for the plant with which they are associated. Okay, hope you understood about the biofertilizer here. Also, to further to define what you can say here, a biofertilizer is a sustainable which contains living microorganisms. Okay, when we apply these living organisms to seed, plant surfaces, or oil, colonizes the rhizosphere or the interior of the plant, and that in turn promotes growth by increasing the supply or availability of primary nutrients to the host plant. Okay, biofertilizers and nutrients through the natural processes, that is nitrogen fixation, then solubilizing phosphorus and stimulating plant growth through the synthesis of growth promoting substances, we can enhance the soil quality. Okay, to enhance the high yield of the plant system. Further, biofertilizer technology is not a new concept. It means it was already used in so many earlier condition, but we were unable to notice those particular work. It involves the inoculation of beneficial microorganisms that help nutrient acquisition by plants through fixation of nitrogen. Okay, other than that, solubilization and mobilization of other nutrients, all this will be played by the microorganisms. For example, most important one is nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation is the process of molecular conversion of dinitrogen into nitrogen compounds, right? Insoluble forms of soil phosphorus are converted into soluble forms by certain microorganisms. This makes the phosphorus available to the plant system. Phosphate is also solubilized by some bacteria and by some fungi that form association with plant roots. So this is the uh, principle behind this particular biofertilizers, and what we are using here, the microorganism. It means microorganisms actually play a very important role here to convert the soil into a very healthy and fertilized soil. Multifarious advantages of biofertilizers leads to its wide applicability in sustainable agriculture. Okay. Biofertilizer concept goes back as early as 300 BC. Okay, when our ancestors realized the importance of legume crops bearing nodules. Okay, we can recall here crop bearing nodules like methi, you can keep in your mind, and tomato, and many more. The perspective of biofertilizers came into existence through discovery of many organisms which are capable of nitrogen fixation or nitrogen fixing condition, phosphate solubilization, phosphate mobilization, then potassium solubilization, and micronutrient transformation in the soil. Okay, the role of biofertilizers assumes special significance due to increased cost of chemical fertilizers and their ill effects on soil health. Okay, in the first picture you could see here, this is the root, and to the root you can see here the legume, that is the root nodules. If you want to see, you can take methi plant, and methi plant or roots, if you observe, no, usually you'll get in the kitchen usually you'll get this one. Okay, you can observe their nodules can be seen. In those nodules you'll be able to see the bacteria. Okay, they are nitrogen fixing bacteria. Rhizobium bacteria inside the nodule you are going to observe like this. The term biofertilizer refers to a preparation containing the live microbes which helps in enhancing the soil fertility either by fixing atmospheric nitrogen, solubilization of the phosphorus, or decomposing organic waste, or by augmenting plant growth by producing growth hormones with their biological activities. Here you could see the rhizobium bacteria, okay, the bacteria in the root surface, okay, like a nodule condition. Next, legume inoculation, where you are going to get the very healthy crops. Biofertilizers are natural fertilizers that are microbial inoculants of bacteria, algae, and fungi that may be we can introduce to the soil separately or in combination to obtain a very good yield of the crops, which may help biological nitrogen fixation for the benefit of plant system. Okay, these biofertilizers help to build up the soil microflora, and thereby the soil health will be enhanced. Use of biofertilizer is recommended for improving the soil fertility in organic farming. Nowadays, most of the farmers and other people are going towards the organic farming, and organic farming products only they are going to select. Hence, biofertilizers do not contain any chemicals which are harmful to the living cells. Okay, here you could see biofertilizer organisms. Okay, here the rhizobium. Okay, you can see the rhizobium here, then azotobacter, which were grown on the culture plate, then PSB, that is phosphate solubilizing bacteria, blue-green algae, then azospirillum, then here vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza can be seen over here. These are some of the biofertilizer organisms you can keep in your mind. During Viva, all these questions will be asked, so you must keep all this in mind. Now let us go to the types of biofertilizers. As I told, in biofertilizer, the most important one are bacteria, algae, that is blue-green algae, and fungus condition. Okay. So bacteria, for example, symbiotic nitrogen fixers, nitrogen fixing bacteria like rhizobium, okay, rhizobium azospirillum species. Then free living nitrogen fixers, okay, like azotobacteria and Klebsiella species you can keep in your mind under symbiotic nitrogen fixers or bacteria. Okay, the next one, that is algal biofertilizers. In algal biofertilizers, you can keep in your mind blue-green algae in association with azolla. Okay, then anabina, nostoc, and oscillatoria. The next one is here phosphate solubilizing bacteria. For example, Pseudomonas species, Bacillus, Megatherium, you can keep in your mind. Okay. The next one here, fungal biofertilizer, that is vesicular herbuscular mycorrhiza, you can keep in your mind. And also, we can also think about the in types of biofertilizer, that is the cyanobacteria. Okay, this is all about the types of biofertilizers. Now you just go through all these important questions. You are going to get all these questions in the biofertilizers unit. Today I have not dealt all this particular answer. Today we have went through only what are biofertilizers and types of biofertilizers. In my next coming video, I'll be discussing all these answers of this particular questions. Let us go through the question number one. What are biofertilizers? You will be able to answer this question, right? Explain in detail symbiotic nitrogen fixation in bacteria. Next class I'll be going through. Okay. This question asked for 10 marks in the year 2017. Next question here, one. This question asked for 2 marks. Even you will get this question commonly during your Viva. Write a note on symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria for 5 marks. What are biopesticides? Next class I'll deal for 1 mark they've asked. Name any 2 bacteria used in production of biofertilizer. They've asked for 1 mark. Then rhizobium for 1 mark. What are biofertilizers? Explain the production of biofertilizers. They asked this question for 10 marks in the year 2014. What is symbiosis? They've asked for 1 mark. Name phosphate solubilizing microorganisms. For 1 mark, they've asked. Rhizobium, again repetition, 2014 and again 2012, they've asked rhizobium. Explain VAM as a biofertilizer. They've asked this question for 5 marks during the year 2012. Don't worry about this all year. Just try to answer all these questions. Okay, anyway, next class I'll be coming with the answers for all these questions, so not to worry. Hope you understood today's concept about introduction to biofertilizers and their types. I, Dr. Pratibha K, signing off for today. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos. Thank you everyone for watching this video and for being with me. Thank you.